Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mildly Gothic. If you're new here, what I like to do is a variety of artsy sort of things. And today we're doing, again, kind of what I started this channel for in the first place, and that's special effects makeup. This is kind of a weird combination of thought processes and something I did already. So I did a Frostbite look about 2 years ago, I think, hence kind of the blue theming. And last Christmas, I did like a candy cane demon with like these big horns. And my original thought was Ice Queen. But I've already done I've done looks recently. I have the Forest Nymph, and then I did that Autumn Queen of the Forest kind of a thing. So the queen thing is something I've done quite a bit recently, and I wanted to do something different. So I decided to go for Ice Possession is kind of what I'm calling it, and I think it turned out so cool. Again, like usual, I film the makeup when I have time, and then I do the intro at a later date, so I have already done the makeup. There is some fabrication that was involved in this that I did not include in the footage. There's a reason for that. I was testing what I could do, and also it involved melting things. So I made icicles, and this is what some of them look like. These are extras. And these are made from Ziploc bags, specifically a gallon Ziploc bag that I cut into strips, and then used a candle that was sitting on the table, held it over, and then kind of twisted and pulled and stretched them until they formed these interesting spirals. So, I wasn't very confident in it, and two, as much as this may be a tutorial on a general Frostbite look, I don't think my parents or YouTube would look too kindly on me promoting, hey, take an open flame and plastic, that's a good idea. It's not. Please don't do this at home. I did find it as something online as far as how to make icicles, but they do also recommend a thicker plastic. I did not have any at my quick disposal, so I used this. I did not burn myself, but I will warn you, it will melt quicker than you expect, and it gets quite hot. So please do not try that at home. Leave the chaos crafting to me. You know, there's other and better ways to make icicles, one of which involves rolling saran wrap, and then you can use hot glue to shape them. But after I had them kind of shaped like this, what I did, I made myself a snow powder. Now, I'd been trying to think of like what to use as snow for a while, because last time I did a Frostbite look, it's actually just sugar. It's just granulated sugar. I wanted something a little bit better, but still ended up going down the same path, because what I ended up using was sprinkles. I found these nice white sprinkles, and I crushed those. I found glitter that had very, very fine particles, but not just dots. It had these little lines to it, but it had some thicker octagons too, and I'm going for a very fine crystal snow look. So I filled out the larger octagons and got just the small tiny crystals, and then using craft glue, brushed some light craft glue onto the icicles, and then covered these in the fake snow. So that was kind of fun, and I think that small edition really... So this one didn't actually get any snow, and this one did. Granted, this one's skinnier, but I do really think you can see a difference in which one looks a little bit better. So I'm really pleased with that. But overall, this is a long and bloated intro. Overall, this was a fun look. I just wanted to put that kind of statement about the fabrication out there. Would not recommend. Please don't do it at home. But it is how I made my icicles. So... if you stuck around through the intro, thank you very much. If you like special effects makeups, let me know. Give it a like, comment down below what you do think of the final product. And I sincerely hope you enjoy the process. So, with all of that said, let's get to the makeup. So, I'd like to think I've gotten a little bit better as I've done these for filming, and I pre-planned this one a good bit, so I didn't have much planning as far as determining where the icicles were going to go on my face, just the direction in that location. So the first thing to start with is basing out that location in latex, and also the base of the icicle, and letting both of those get tacky before applying one to the other. Once you do that, it's pretty much going to stay stuck. There is no wiggle room. And then to let that dry and secure before I start stacking the other icicles that were going to go on the forehead, I started layering up the base layers for the other lesions and wounds that were going to be caused by the frostbite. I decided to not use any tissue in my creation of the wounds this time. As with previous experience, I do know that the latex alone will behave exactly as I need it. I did have to plan some as far as what icicle I was going to use next and where I wanted to put it. That's kind of the fun part. And then, considering the base of the icicle is plastic, applying more latex on top of that, because again, a tacky latex to tacky latex connection is going to give you the best adhesion in the first place and then also long term. I had another plan for a set on my cheek, and so I blocked that out as well. This is actually probably the most straightforward and one of the easiest makeup setups I have done in a long while. If you'll notice, I am finally using a tool to help apply latex, which is just the back of a paintbrush rather than my finger due to the size of some of these pieces. I do use my fingers for some bit because there's just an amount of dexterity that no tool will ever be able to replace. And so while this is not my first makeup on this channel where I have stuck things to my face, it is one of a limited number where I actually remember the logic of this. If you want something to stick, you need to apply the latex and let it get tacky before attempting to place it in its final location. That is the only way to ensure maximum cohesion between the pieces. And then of course relayering on top of that if you plan to add more things, like I was stacking up with the icicles on my forehead. Every time I put one down, I added another latex coat on top of it and let that get tacky so I could apply the next icicle, and so on and so forth. When thinking about dimension, you always want to remember that you want to start from the back and build forwards, and while you can work with this in thought process in mind, sometimes you realize that you need things added to the back, and that's why you always want to have different sized pieces, especially when working with something like this, so that you can put those things in the back very easily if you determine that you do need more volume. Also, knowing your directions is key. Are you going for a horn or are you going for an explosion? I was going for more of an exploding protrusion, and so they are not very pointed together. They're just kind of all over the place, trying to make an interesting organic shape rather than a point. If you are planning to rip the latex like I will soon be doing, and you are not planning on reinforcing it with tissue, I would recommend at least 2 coats so that you can get a thicker layer on top, and when you rip it, it actually has some dimension and texture to it, and it isn't just paper thin. It will get a much nicer and more realistic result having some weight to it. This makeup once again includes a product I have a love-hate relationship with, which is Scar Wax. I decided to use a little bit of liquid latex, not only to build up a base, but also to have something tacky to apply the Scar Wax on top of. And I was using this to help aid in the look of a protrusion from my face. For some reason, today, it cooperated beautifully, so I will not complain. I again used micellar water on my fingers to kind of help smooth it out, and then a variety of sculpting tools to really help blend it into my face. It takes a little time and a little patience, but the payoff is almost always worth it. And I also decided to use a little bit of latex just to help blend that edge between the Scar Wax and my skin. Without tissue, because the latex will dry clear and make a much more seamless edge. That is a mistake I've made in the past and decided to use tissue even though it was unnecessary. And all it did was make the edge that much more noticeable and harder to blend. In this case, I also decided to break the Scar Wax for the forehead piece up into 2 different sections, just because I was having some issues getting a nice solid rope of Scar Wax, but this can also pose some of its own problems in attempting to blend the 2 together. With Scar Wax, as I have learned through force, patience is key. Not just in warming it in the first place, but applying it to the face and blending the edges. The more time and care you take with the edges, the smoother and cleaner they will be. creating those other lesions on the face. This is as simple as ripping and tearing the latex. For typical frostbite, if you look up pictures, at least on the face, you'll often see these small holes or pits, and they occur on the most raised or outward sections of the face. So cheekbones, forehead, nose. All you have to do is press and hold the outside of the latex and then pinch and grab one part in the center and pull. You want to press the outside because that will ensure that you're not ripping the entire thing off your face, just ripping a small hole. And repeat as many times as you want or have the latex to do so. Now, when it comes to applying colors for a frostbite, you have two main ones depending on the severity of the wounds. You have black or purple, which denotes necrotic or dying skin or flesh, and that will typically be on those most exposed areas or on the inside of wounds. So I also included it around the base of the icicles because if it's coming into direct contact with that much ice, it's probably going to be dead tissue. You want that to kind of be your focus or inside of the wound. And then from that point, it kind of works like a bruise. Cold skin gets very red, so that is your other main tone. It's a lot of purples and reds, and sometimes that purple can go into the blue. And for makeup frostbites, you'll see a lot of different tones comprised of those three: black, purple, and red. For the eyes, things get a little bit different. You want to kind of go for more tired, so they aren't going to be necessarily as intense. I probably could have gone with some darker colors around my eyes, but you want to stick with a navy and red. It's going to be very red on the inner corners of the eye, and then just kind of like dark and sunken for the rest of it. This is an extreme condition. The body is reacting very drastically. You are going to look exhausted. The other point of color that I did not necessarily apply the best would be the lips. I should have gone quite a bit darker considering the severity of the rest of the frostbite I did. The lips are also going to be very cold, very blue, or purple. Those are your main colors. You just need to think the darkest color is going to be where the wound is or where the cold is touching or festering, and then it's going to fade, and then the rest of the skin is irritated, likely due to wind or the temperature, and that will be the red. I used a lot of just blending sponges at first to get the base colors and kind of figure out where I wanted them, and eventually once I established a more solid colors, I went in with a stippling sponge. A stippling sponge is my favorite tool. I used it with both my dark blue and my red to spread the color in a way that seems more realistic, as it does not have such defined edges. The stippling effect gives it that irritated, just more natural look than it would otherwise have. So if you had to get one other sponge in your toolkit besides maybe a beauty blender or just makeup sponges, you need a stippling sponge. It helps with blending edges, it helps with blending colors. Cannot recommend a stippling sponge enough. And it's really just about building colors. Well, a lot of what I did is I start very central and localized and then build out the severity from there. You do not want to establish the width of your spread before you work on the center. You need to work on the center of the wound and establish how that's going to go, and you can continue to build the wound out, but it's very hard to remove color once you have established an outer edge and you're kind of stuck and committed with that. So start at a focal point and work out from that. Now for the fake snow. No frostbite look is complete without ice crystals. Your face does not get this decayed without some direct contact with ice. And in the intro, I already showed my fake snow and kind of my process for creating it. And on most areas where the latex is applied, I'm using craft glue to assist in getting the latex to stick to my face. Now for my eyebrows, I did not want to get glue in them, so I just used hairspray, and surprisingly, I sprayed it on my finger, wiped it on the eyebrow, dipped the finger with hairspray into the fake snow, and then brushed that on top of my eyebrow, and it stays. I thought initially I didn't want as much extra powder, And then in the end, I realized that the extra snow helped sell it just that much more, so I stopped bothering so much with brushing it away. For my eyes, I just used mascara to help it stick because you don't want to put anything else near your eyelashes or your eyes. You want to protect them. They're very important. I probably could have put more on my lips and or found a better, more effective way to apply more to my eyebrows, but my main focus was ensuring that the areas around the base of the icicles were packed with snow to help really sell this look. I may seem like I'm brushing over a lot, but genuinely this is a very straightforward makeup process and one that I enjoyed very much. It's very straightforward, the thought process is very clear, and I hope I haven't been too confusing in my ramblings over the video. It's really now a phase of final touches, making sure all of the fake snow is where I want it, and I probably could have gone back and added some more darker tones into those lesions on the face. But overall, that's the process. Focus on your colors, have a clear plan, and have fun. Hello, welcome to the end. I am undead. I'm super pleased with this. Like, what's the concept? I don't know, kind of crazy, but I'm kind of in love with it. I apologize if, well, I guess the people who clicked off because it's scary wouldn't still be around, but thank you for sticking around this long. This was, I think, one of my most successful attempts as far as sticking things to my face. Getting better at it. It usually involves me not being stubbornly impatient. A lot of that last bit probably wasn't in frame, so I don't know how much cut I cut out. But all the snow is stuck to my face, and I mean, I'm here for whatever this is. This actually feels very stable. I keep bumping into these, but other than that, like, I think we're doing all right. Does it look realistic? I don't know. I think the frostbite part does. Did I forget to base my face out in white again? Maybe. But we got snow crystals, we got icicles. This is basically everything I wanted. I'm very pleased with this. This was a fun one. So, welcome to the wintry time of the year. This is in the spirit kind of the holidays. My next two videos will also be very holiday themed, but it's fitting. So, my lips could use some more snow, but with all of that said, thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like, subscribe if you want. I do special effects makeups at least once a month, I think. They're a big part of why I started this channel, but I don't get to do them quite as often because they do take a little bit of work. So, with all that said, thank you for sticking around, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!